Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the IndieZone here on YouTube. Today is November 26, 2024, a very important day because pursuant to Judge Stephen Hippler's order, he is allowing the defense to resubmit their memoranda and supporting evidence regarding their request for a Franks hearing. And if you have not listened to our prior episodes, either of the IndieZone podcast itself or here on YouTube, regarding this Franks hearing, please do so. It will provide you with further details and information as to why this is such a critically important hearing for Mr. Kohberger to obtain. We have no information. Really, we can speculate on what it is that the defense is citing to, which affidavit the defense is relying on in seeking a Franks hearing. For educational purposes, opinion only, First Amendment cited to the United States Constitution, freedom of speech, freedom of the press. I would like to just go over an example or two from the PCA, the Affidavit of Probable Cause, which was the very first document in the Idaho versus Kohberger case file, at least the public docket. We've talked about the number of things that are under seal in this case. But if you go to item 1, you will see the 18-page Affidavit of Probable Cause listed there, signed by Brett Payne. And if we look at the last page, page number 18, this is what gives us, I guess, good faith to use this document as a possible document, an affidavit that would be used in an application for a Franks hearing. We don't know. Again, this is simply an educational exercise. It says here at the bottom of page 18, based on the above information, I am requesting an arrest warrant be issued for Brian C. Kohberger, date of birth 11/21/1994, for burglary at 1122 King Street in Moscow, Idaho. Here we see one of a few what appears to be typographical errors that appear in the PCA that we identified in our first 18 episodes of the IndieZone, where we went through the PCA page by page. It's not King Street in Moscow. It is King Road, 1122 King Road. But it's listed here, 1122 King Street in Moscow, Idaho. 4 counts of murder in the first degree for the murders of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Concalves, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. I declare under penalty of perjury, pursuant to the law of the state of Idaho, that the aforegoing is true and correct. It is signed and dated 12/29/2022, and then there's a number 157, presumably that's Brett Payne's badge number with the Moscow Police Department. Now, one thing that I'd like to just bring to your attention, if you look at page 1 of the Affidavit of Probable Cause, Detective Payne addresses the fact that the Idaho State Police assisted the Moscow Police Department, as did the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, but there's no information regarding Latah County Sheriff's Department. And that has always been a question in my mind. Why wouldn't they have gone to the Latah County Sheriff's Department? Why jump directly to ISP, the Idaho State Police, and leave out the county where the town is? Wouldn't they have a lot more day-to-day information, personal knowledge of the town, possibly of some of the students that were involved, or one of the students? The University of Idaho is right there. All of this happened certainly it happened in the state of Idaho, but it happened in the county of Latah as well. County of Latah is not involved, apparently, in this investigation into the crimes at 1122 King Road, not King Street. What would be an example of something that might be cited if we were going by the Affidavit of Probable Cause? Well, it says here, page 6, suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a 4th time. It should be at approximately 4:04 a.m. Again, this is the top of the second paragraph, page number 6. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a fourth time, A, approximately 4:04 a.m. If you go down to the next paragraph, this is the last paragraph on page 6, suspect vehicle 1 is next seen departing the area of the King Road residence at approximately 4:20 a.m. at a high rate of speed. Later in the Affidavit of Probable Cause, Detective Payne states that the timeline of the crimes approximately are 4 a.m. through 4:25 a.m. So, might point out a discrepancy here in the timeline in a Frank's motion. How possibly could the crimes, and its burglary and the 4 counts of first degree homicide, have occurred between 4 and 4:25 a.m. based on the arrest of just one person, that's Brian C. Kohberger? If you're saying here at page 6, the car that is presumably Mr. Kohberger's car, suspect vehicle 1, can be seen entering the area a fourth time at approximately 4:04 and then seen speeding out of the neighborhood at 4:20. Wouldn't there have had to have been time for him to park, if your theory is correct that he is the sole and the correct defendant, after being seen at 4:04 a.m., and wouldn't he have had to leave the residence before 4:20 a.m. to be seen speeding out of the neighborhood? It appears that there's some inconsistency here, either a false statement or an intentional reckless disregard to say that the crimes happened between 4 o'clock and 4:25 based on the facts that appear here on page 6. Again, my opinion only. My opinion only. First Amendment, free speech, freedom of the press, and also for educational purposes. Another example might be page 4, first paragraph. DM, and we know from a reading of the Affidavit of Probable Cause, is one of the roommates, surviving roommates at 1122 King Road. DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Goncalves, this is one of the 4 victims, Kaylee, playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the 3rd floor. A short time later, DM said she heard who she thought was Goncalves say something to the effect of, quote, "There's someone here," end of quote. A review of the records obtained from a forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed that this could have also been Kernodle, as her cellular phone indicated that she was likely awake and was using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. So my question here, this is page 4, first paragraph cited to, why is the lead detective of the case changing or suggesting that DM didn't hear Kaylee, but might have heard Xana? Unless you're there physically and present to hear these sounds, you can't give first-person testimony. And by the way, I don't think that it's a detective's place to change a witness testimony, but that might be an example of something else. Page 4, paragraph 1, Affidavit of Probable Cause. My next example, page 2, first paragraph. I then followed Officer Smith upstairs to the 3rd floor of the residence. The 3rd floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bathroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee Goncalves, hereafter Goncalves' room. I later learned from the review of Officer Nunez's body camera, and he is presumably one of the officers that was a first responder after the 911 call went out to Moscow Police Department, Officer Nunez. I later learned from review of Officer Nunez's body cam, There was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. The dog belonged to Kaylee Goncalves and her ex-boyfriend Jack Decor. I found out from my interview with Jack Decor on November 13th, 2022, that he and Goncalves shared the dog. Officer Smith then pointed out a small bathroom on the east side of the third floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogen, here and after Mogen's bedroom, which was situated on the southeast corner of the third floor. So here, just in synopsis, the most important point here is that I later learned from review of Officer Nunez's body cam there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. Going down into the next paragraph, cited page 2, Affidavit of Probable Cause. As I entered the bedroom, I could see 2 females on the single bed in the room. Both Goncalves and Mogen, that's Madison Mogen, second victim, were deceased with visible stab wounds. I later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogen's right side. And if you've been following the case, you know that this knife sheath is immensely important, at least according to Moscow Police Department, leading to the arrest of Brian C. Kohberger on the 30th of December 2022, based on this affidavit. Officer Smith, who accompanied Detective Payne through the house, is believed to be, we're not certain, but strongly rumored he is one of the responding initial officers with Nunez, Officer Nunez. What I would like to know, what I would point out here is if you looked at Officer Nunez's body cam later and you saw what appeared to be what was a dog, who you then learned through Jack Decor this was Kaylee and Jack's dog, did you look at Officer Smith's body cam if he in fact was one of the first responders from the time when he entered the room, the bedroom where Madison and Kaylee and this sheath were found, and was the sheath visible? Because there's been some controversy regarding the sheath. Was it on top of the blanket? Was it under the blanket? Where was it? If you read the affidavit, you will see that Detective Payne cites to later noticing this sheath, but what about when he initially entered the room? If you're with a first responder there, wouldn't he have pointed that out? Or wouldn't you have asked to look at his video camera from when he entered that room? And if it's not Officer Smith, then whoever, was it Officer Nunez who was first in there? That would be something else potentially that could be cited too. In a Frank's motion, again, we're just talking here educationally. These are no facts. We don't know what the defense is citing to, but this would be an example, a third example, of what might possibly, opinion, First Amendment, be cited to as the judge stated must happen. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the Frank's pending motion, on this presentation. In the comments section, please like, please subscribe, please share. I appreciate your support of the channel. Please also listen to the IndieZone. And I thank you very much for your time, your attention, and your support.